I just killed a snake with a lawnmower. Reddit. What decisions have you made in emergency situations that you immediately regretted? I had one of those styrofoam cups that holds drinks, usually sold at fast food places. Anyway, I accidentally poked a hole on the bottom with my straw, causing the drink to leak. I immediately flipped it over, causing the entire drink to spill on my lap while I'm at a stoplight. Not a smart move. My brain automatically goes into reflex mode when I drop something, and I make a kicking motion with my foot to try and catch it. I'm not at all sure why I do this, but I've done it for years. I think maybe it worked once, and my brain thinks it'll work every time. It doesn't. The worst offense of this was when I tried to make myself a soft serve ice cream cone at a cafeteria. After filling the cone, I accidentally dropped it, to which my brain responded, "I got this." I immediately stuck my foot up to catch the cone, and I shattered the cone, sending ice cream and waffle cone bits everywhere. The worst part was upon realizing what I had done, I imagined what it must have looked like from the perspective of the janitor that was standing 6 feet from me. I imagined him mopping up the floor only to see some piss and drop kicking a full ice cream cone. He stared at me, completely blank-faced, as if to say, "You've got to be freaking with me," and my brain, making the ever so brilliant rash decisions it does, goes into rushed explanation mode to try and save itself. Unfortunately, I tripped over my own tongue, and the only thing that came out verbally was a half whimpering "you." If you've ever seen Parks and Recreation, it sounded exactly like Tom Haverford's apology whimpering. My friends bring it up ever so often, and it's still one of the most embarrassing situations I can recall. My brain automatically goes into reflex mode when I drop something, and I make a kicking motion with my foot to try and catch it. This is generally from playing soccer or hacky sack. I did this to a popcorn that slipped out of my hand in my kitchen. Made a sticky freaking mess, man. So I was using a hot glue gun to glue this project together for school when I got a glob of hot glue on my finger. I instinctively stuck the finger in my mouth to cool it. Instant mistake. I then had this string of hot glue going from my mouth to my finger. I burned my tongue, lips, and finger. From then on out, I kept a bowl of water near me when hot gluing things. I just wanna say those jeans probably aren't ruined. Soak in cool water. Use spray and wash, OxyClean or a stain remover designed for blood. Wash in cold water. Check before you move them to the dryer. Repeat process if necessary, before letting dry or exposing to heat. Source: periods. Till a period is akin to catching a snake in a lawnmower and getting the resultant bloodbath on your pants. Once I made the perfect pancake. Perfect. We're talking perfect circle, perfect fluff, perfectly golden, perfect. I went to put it on my plate from the frying pan and oh god, it fell on the floor. What do I do? What do I do? I know. Wash it off real fast and no one will know. So there I am, 10 minutes later, crying over the running tap with the once perfect pancake soaked in my hands. I once spilled a cup of boiling hot tea on my crotch and thin pajama clad thighs. I freaked out and attempted to throw the cup away from me, only for it to spill more hot boiling liquid on me. Then I spun in circles for a few seconds, screaming, until my boyfriend threw me in a cool bath. I don't do well in high stress situations. It's a good thing you have cool baths just prepared for something like this. As someone who has run over an aggressive, venomous snake with a lawnmower, I've also killed 2 more with shovels, and 1 with my feet due to lack of mowers or shovels. Keep those instincts. If you hesitate, you die. Source: I once punched a funnel web spider to death. You can trust me. Sounds like you're Australian. Oh shit, I need to poop. And I think there is some fart buildup too. Okay, well, let me just relieve myself a bit and release some of the fart ever so frick I shat myself. This happened in 3rd grade. We've all gambled on a fart and lost. A friend of mine was extremely intoxicated and started to get violent. As we were trying to calm her down, she started hitting me. Without thinking, I chicken winged her and popped her arm out of socket. Sitting next to her in the cab on the way to the hospital sucked. A moth landed on my phone's lit screen when I was standing outside one night and I flicked my wrist to scare it off. My whole phone went flying and landed on the concrete with that terrible noise something makes when you know it's going to break. The screen was unusable after that. Dang moth. I was about to return the rental car and pay for the fact that the gas wasn't filled up all the way. I had 10 extra minutes, so I decided to find a gas station and avoid the fee. Missed the plane by 10 minutes, had to take 3 connections, 2 flight delays and 8 extra hours of flying. Oh, and did I mention I was traveling with 2 very small children? Yay, not fun. All to save $30. A few days ago, I saw a spider in the shower. It crawled onto a shampoo bottle. I picked it up and started smashing it against the wall, but didn't realize the shampoo was open. Shampoo and spider guts all over the wall. Your username is the best thing I have ever read. I am a classical piano student, AMA, and on the night before a major in-class performance, I flipped over my handlebars while biking home. Mid-fall, I kid you not, I told myself I couldn't use my hands to brace my fall because that would possibly ruin my career, so I used my face. Right as I was letting my dog out of the kennel, I saw a rabbit a couple feet away. Instead of leaving the dog in the kennel, I opened it. The dog tore the rabbit to pieces in front of my face. Same thing here, except my dog on the neighbor's cat. I thought it would have run, but it didn't. I live in a semi-rural city that has a lot of wildlife. One summer the grey squirrels had a population explosion. They were everywhere. Well, one morning, one started chattering away at about sunup and continued its little chuff 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 brrr rap territorial display for about 4 hours. I had been up late working the night before and was trying to sleep in. After tossing and turning for quite a while, I had enough. I grabbed my pellet gun, dropped a BB in it, and pumped it 1.177 air gun, 1 step above Nerf. My bedroom window had long ago lost its screen, so I leaned out, drew a bead on the squirrel's butt, and let a rip. Well, shooting a BB is like shooting a musket ball, and I'll be damned if I didn't get him right in the eye. He had the death motions of the finest Shakespearean actor. It was awful. Needless to say, I didn't get back to sleep, and my pellet gun sat in my shop for about 5 years after that. I couldn't stomach picking it up. Mine was the decision to do nothing. I was on the MAX train, a public transit train in Portland, at around 10:30 p.m. last October with a bunch of friends. At one of the stops, a young, mixed-race girl around our age, high school, ran on. She wasn't screaming, nor was she asking for help. She was shortly followed by a middle-aged white man who claimed she was his daughter and a runaway. She said she was not yelling, nor asking for help at all, that she wasn't his daughter, and he had been choking her. He grabbed her by her sweatshirt and started dragging her off of the maximum. 2 of my friends took several years of kung fu, and the other 2 are both 6 feet 3 inches. I naturally assumed one of them would do something, but they didn't. I shouldn't have assumed that. In all honesty, I think I could beat any one of them in a fight. We all just watched this girl get dragged off of the train, and we continued on our way. It still haunts me to know that I could have helped her, but I didn't. I've justified it publicly to my friends by saying she never asked for help. I think she would have if she needed it, but that is balls. It doesn't help that all my friends thought I would do something when it was happening. Bystander effect. My Jack Russell was barking at something in the bushes. I could tell there was something in there. I forced it to run out of the bushes. It was a groundhog. My Jack mortally wounded it, and I put it out of its misery with a blow to the head with my practice sword. I should have just taken my dog inside. Sorry, groundhog. The first time I read that, I thought it was a warthog that mortally wounded your dog. I hit a toad while mowing my lawn. Put a nice dent in the top of his head, but he was still able to hop around. I passed over him again, finishing what I accidentally started. I like to think I did the right thing. Frog hunting with old girlfriend's dad. Brought the haul back to his house to clean. I would knock it out on the floor. He would skin it. A few minutes later, we'd remove the head and finish cleaning it. One of them came to after being skinned and started hopping away. Happened when I was in my early teens and is therefore really freaking stupid. I was drinking beer in a park with friends and suddenly, the cops come out from around the corner. I hide my beer in my bag because drinking in public is prohibited and the cops walk past. Nothing happened. I high-five my friends for dodging a €20 fine while I open my bag and see that the beer has ruined all electronic devices in my bag. including my phone and my MP3 player. Being young and stupid sucked. I was in the process of evacuating for Katrina. My parents are divorced, so I had crap to get at my mom's house. I went over there and they had already left and there was clothes and party crap everywhere. They had a party the night before, so did I. To be fair, no one expected it to be as bad as it was. Anyway, I go around the house picking up miscellaneous items that belong to me and my brother that I would want to save. I take the video game systems and put them on the top of the bed. We were always told that if water got in the house, it wouldn't be much. The water was over the roof. As I'm doing this, I notice that the plastic pet carrier is empty laying on the floor. My mom has a cat that she got for my brother and I that we got after my parents' divorce. I hadn't seen him and assumed that my mom had taken him. When I saw the carrier there, I wondered if he was still there, but typically he was loud and patrolling the house. If I hadn't seen him, then I assumed he had been taken. Maybe they couldn't get him in the carrier, so they just took him. Nope. They had left him under the bed, and from what I can tell, that's where he stayed when the water rushed in. He wouldn't let them put him inside it, and they assumed the hurricane wouldn't be too bad. If I had just looked under the bed, I'd have saved him maybe. I was walking out of the kitchen with a full, probably too full, plate of spaghetti and marbles. My cat got underfoot, and I stumbled, causing a large portion of the still steaming hot semi-Italian awesomeness to slop off the plate and suspend itself in midair momentarily. Reacting with reflexes faster than that dumb cat still under my foot, I reached out and grabbed the noodles. End result, a handful of slippery noodles desperately clutched in my outstretched hand. Spaghetti sauce on the carpet, wall, pants, a chair, and that still too dumb to move cat. Eventual first degree burns. And both my girlfriend and my mom rolling on the floor making these weird high-pitched squeal barking noises I assume were a reaction of mirth. The stain is still on my parents' carpet, and they point it out regularly. A snake I had only just seen. I lawnmowed into smithereens. Now I'm in a cold sweat, and I'm filled with regret, cause there's snake all over my jeans. I was having sex and noticed one of my golf trophies was about to fall off my shelf from the vibrations of the headboard, but I had to finish so I'll let it hit my head. Ended up getting a concussion. Yesterday, my girlfriend was complaining about a rattling sound from the passenger side window of her car. I put my finger to feel the vibration and she closes the window on my index finger. In an act of rage, I called her a fat bee. I do not believe we will be together as of tomorrow. No, you will not be together tomorrow. Anytime I kill any sort of bug, I always feel awful. I ended that thing's life and it couldn't do anything about it. Feels bad, man. I usually catch the bugs and drop them in the nearest spider web. It brings balance to the force. One of my friends killed themselves this morning. I was talking to one of my other friends about it, and I decided to kiss her. I don't know why and I couldn't give her a good answer either. We've been friends for a few years, but nothing would ever hint at being more than that. She said she was hurt and angry, but that she forgave me. I haven't felt like such crap in a very long time. I don't know what to do with myself right now. Condom sales spiked during a crisis. You reacted that way due to stress and grief. I finished shaving this morning and was about to take a shower. There was a mouse in the bathtub. I wrapped my hand in paper towels and grabbed it, tossed it into the toilet and flushed it. All day I've been thinking about its screams and the painful death it experienced. After a long day of holding it in at work, I arrived home and sprinted to my bathroom to take a ride on the porcelain holly, only to realize that I was fresh out of bog roll. My housemates were out so I hopscotched with my pants around my ankles to the other bathroom to retrieve another roll, only to trip and land face first into the crotch of my housemate's girlfriend, who had been hanging laundry out back. We agreed that this incident was my one and haven't spoken about it since. A mosquito landed on the horn part of my steering wheel. I hate mosquitoes. The guy in front of me was a bad driver anyway. No regrets. Was trying to open a can with one of those pull wires and the key broke off. In a move of pure genius, I tried to pull the wire the rest of the way off with my fingers. It cut my thumb to the bone. I was bleeding a lot and I wasted about 10 minutes looking for band-aids before I realized I was getting blood everywhere and I should probably just get a paper towel or something. Ruined a good outfit. When I was a teenager, I worked in the stockroom of a department store. I once killed a bat that got into the storeroom with insect spray. Raid. The bat just writhed in, I'm certain, burning pain, suffocating in the stuff until it was dead. To this day, I feel horribly about the whole thing. I was just a teenager who was asked to take care of a situation that was beyond what a teenager should know how to handle. Was drunk one night at a friend's house. Giant bag of ice started to fall out of the freezer and my hands were full. I tried to catch it with my foot, but instead it annihilated my shin. A week ago I saw a cockroach on the floor as I was sitting on the toilet. My first instinct was to trap it with the toilet plunger. The next day the toilet got clogged up. Let's just say I have 2 toilet plungers now. I still haven't moved the one on top of the cockroach. Money wasted due to plunge cockroach. I've also killed a snake with a lawnmower, and I also immediately regretted it. Additionally, I once put my hand on the stove to see if it was warm. Spoiler, it was. Some time ago, I was mowing my neighbor's lawn. At some point I ran over a wasp's nest and started getting stung. I started running while taking off my jacket and flailing around. At some point, the zipper on my jacket caught me in my mouth, knocking out my 2 front teeth. This was about 2 weeks before my freshman year of high school and I was plenty awkward to begin with. I took off my sweatshirt jacket in class because I wanted to see where it was made, but when I looked in the hood there was a huge butt spider and I threw it through the whole class while I made a very girlish scream. Quite embarrassing. This is not to answer the question, but I have also defeated a snake with a snap judgment. I'm from the south on a little farm with chickens. One night, when my parents were out, and it was just me and my sister, who was out collecting eggs, I heard a blood-curdling scream from outside. This scream indicated to my brain that my sister was under attack from Bear Ninja Republicans. So I grabbed my Braveheart-inspired broadsword from the side of my bed and ran outside. The rest of the story is I beheaded a chicken snake and savage sister, despite the fact that chicken snakes aren't venomous or dangerous. To this day this story is one of my crowning achievements in life. Oh heck. I remember when I first moved to a new apartment and was ever so impatiently waiting for the local ISP to come deliver to me the internets. Already had my computer and wireless router set up, just needed the modem. What I did not realize was that my brilliant toss every cable I own into the same bag and sort it out later packing method would backfire. I had grabbed the wrong cord for my router. Mistake 1. Long story short, the cord's power brick caught on fire, and it was resting on top of the carpet. My first thought was, oh no, carpet will burn, so I immediately grabbed the brick. Mistake 2. After standing there a second and wondering how to get burns out of a white carpet, I noticed some small discomfort in my hand. Immediately realize flesh is singed, and toss the brick into the garbage can. Garbage can full of paper. Mistake 3. He's out. Finally I realize the error of my ways and toss the still flaming brick into the sink and turn on the water. Lesson learned. TLDR. My instincts are terrible. I smoked my first joint, then immediately downed a bottle of the sickly fruity cider called Copperberg, and then due to peer pressure I ate a plant on the windowsill. Stood on my friend's shoulders and licked the chandelier. Licked the floor and ate an apple that was mashed all over the window. I threw up about a minute later, about 4 feet from the toilet. You sound like a fricking in-betweeners episode, LOL. I caught a small gnat in my hand and I had the smart idea to punch myself in the stomach to smash the gnat in my hand. It didn't hurt, but my brother still laughs at me for that. Driving along at night, only car on the road, see a hedgehog run from the right hand side of the road in front of me. I swerved to the right to avoid it, as there's a fence to my left. The poor wee bugger changed direction and ran back to the right. He didn't make it. I still feel bad about it, even though there wasn't really anything I could do about it. Killed a bat with a cutting board. I scream like a little girl when I see bats, but they don't deserve to die just because they wandered into my house. My dad mangled a garden snake with a lawnmower and had to cut off the poor thing's head to take it out of its misery. be in chemistry class. Bunsen burner is heating a metal cauldron suspended in air. Bell rings. Told to remove cauldron before we leave. Turns off burner. Grabs cauldron with index finger and thumb. Try to place cauldron on table. Fingers stuck to cauldron. No pain. Fingerprints burned into the metal cauldron. TLDR. I'm a freaking idiot sometimes. Oh, and burning flesh smells amazing. This wasn't me, but I remember reading about some guy who was jogging and saw a rattlesnake. His first instinct was to bite its head off. You can guess what happened next. Did the same thing with a weed whacker. It was clearly me or the snake, so I snapped into action, cranked the throttle, and frapped Mr. Snakey. Don't feel bad, friend. It's times like this that make us men. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.